What's up, Internet? My name is Attack Slug, and welcome to my Raw reactions for the week of January 25th. I believe it is the 4th Raw of the year as we roll on to Fastlane in a couple of weeks here, and the fallout from the Royal Rumble in this episode of Raw. So, Raw starts out as you would assume it might, with a very long promo, like it does a whole lot of weeks, with Vince and Steph, and out comes Triple H, who is your new World Heavyweight Champion, etc., etc., and they spend like 20 minutes setting up how they're going to do Fastlane, which is that Triple H is not defending his belt at Fastlane. He is pulling a Lesnar and going, I'm going to defend when I feel like defending, which is WrestleMania. So, therefore, the winner of a match, the winner of the main event of Fastlane is going to be the guy who is the #1 contender for WrestleMania, and that is how you solve having the world title defended at the Rumble and not having the Rumble determine who was your #1 contender for WrestleMania. So the authorities say, hey, whoever impresses us the most tonight is going to be in this main event. We'll let you know at the end of the show. And believe me, I'll get into that at the end of the show. So, the first match of the evening is Kevin Owens versus Dolph Ziggler. Owens is still kind of trying to sell, the beating from the Last Man Standing match at the Rumble, which he kind of sells it like, walk into the ring, but not a whole lot really in the match. It was a fine, like, I don't mind seeing Owens and Ziggler fight, like, at this point almost every week. Like, I'm not tired of it yet. I think they're both pretty good at what they do. And Owens wins. And that moves us on to, apparently a guest of Dolph Ziggler. Once again, Mr. Flo Rida is in the crowd, sitting in that usual seat of, hey, there's a celebrity here. I should mention, in that opening segment, there were a couple guys dressed up as legends in the front row on the hard camera. They moved those guys. We'll get into that a little bit later. Anyway, Flo Rida and his posse are there, and out come the Social Outcasts. And as we know, Heath Slater has a long-standing beef with Flo Rida, dating back to WrestleMania something or other. It's been a while. They've interacted a couple of times. So, Heath Slater, being Heath Slater, tells Flo Rida to not get into his business, and they're this, the Outcasts are out there for some reason or another, right? Now, obviously, when you tell a celebrity guest to not do something, they immediately do that thing, and so Flo Rida gets in the ring, etc., etc., and Heath Slater said, I'm not gonna fight you, I'm not going to punch you, I'm not going to whatever. We're going to have a rap battle. But not me. It's going to be Bo Dallas, a.k.a. Bo Rida. And, so they have a very almost 1980s style rap battle. And I will say this much, as someone who has occasionally dabbled into making rap and or hip-hop myself, well, nerdcore, but as someone who has occasionally put out music of that genre myself, I will tell you that Bo Dallas won that battle hands down. He actually had punchlines, whereas Flo Rida, seemed confused and dude, you're a professional rapper and you had time to prepare, and you're terrible. Holy shit. Bo Dallas actually had punchlines. He actually had, certainly his delivery was very 80s, but he had bars. So that was a weird segment. And then Flo Rida brings out the Dudleys for some reason, and they have a match. And it is the Dudleys versus Bo and Axel. And obviously the Dudleys win. My only issue in this match was that they brought into the ring Heath Slater and did the whole wada thing. Heath Slater was not a participant in the match. Why was there no disqualification on any part called? The referee was just kind of yeah, well, sure, let him get hit in the nuts. What? Do your job, ref. If there's somebody in the match who shouldn't be in the match, call it. Just... Anyway. It's all downhill from here. No. Next match was Chris Jericho versus the phenomenal AJ Styles for the first time, making his Raw debut in a match that wasn't great. It wasn't terrible, but it was a match that, had they had it, say, like 10 years ago, would have been amazing. And these days, Chris Jericho can't quite go the same speed. There's the Rampage. Can't quite go the same speed that he used to go, and I think he needs to perhaps further adapt his style. He's not a luchador style guy anymore. It's just not happening. But AJ Styles gets the victory, so I like that Chris Jericho has hung around to put over the young guys. Like, at that point in your career, when you're like 45, that's what you should be doing. Now, I thought it was kind of insulting that he would refer to AJ Styles as kid, because AJ's like 38 and has like 5 kids or some shit like that, so that was kind of weird. And I know a lot of people on the internet took issue with the whole welcome to the big leagues, rhetoric, but seriously, logistically, when it comes to pro wrestling, there is literally one big leagues, and it is WWE. Like, it's kind of an asshole thing to say, considering how long he spent in TNA, and the work he put in New Japan certainly is amazing. But if you ask somebody what wrestling is, they're going to tell you WWE in 2016. So, looking forward to see what he does on. I'm looking forward to seeing what AJ Styles does on SmackDown. Supposedly, he's on SmackDown this week with a more competent announced team with King and Morrow doing that stuff. Anyway, that moves us on to Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch, which did not have a finish because there was a DQ because Charlotte interrupted. So, one would imagine this is going to set up a triple threat between Sasha and Becky and Charlotte at Fastlane, and then you're not ruining your potential Sasha and Charlotte match, which should be a Mania match, hopefully. Moving on. Goldust was backstage, and he was looking for R-Truth. And I guess because Booker T is retired and Goldust isn't, like, that's kind of weirdly... I'm not going to say it's racist, but, like, he's like, hey, remember when I had a tag team partner in Booker T and that was awesome? Wait, what just happened there? Is there a disqualification? I'm going to have to watch that back. I don't know what the fuck just happened there. I think there was a DQ, but I don't know why. Weird. Anyway, Goldust is looking for a new tag team partner. I thought it was kind of telling that Goldust went back to having his weird Tourette's problem, the, WrestleMania type stuff, because he got electrocuted. I think that was that 90s or 2000s storyline, that he got Tourette's from getting electrocuted. Anyway, he was looking for a tag team partner, but R-Truth, who misunderstood him, thought he wanted to, have the relations or whatever. He's like, I'm married, dog. So they may or may not end up forming a tag team called the Golden Truth. And I'm sure they could have all kinds of shenanigans, much like Booker T and Goldust had about 10, 15 years ago. So I don't know. It's perhaps a little bit less racist than when DiBiase Jr. was looking for a new Virgil, and ended up getting the old Virgil. Yeah. Anyway, let's get past that. To Bray Wyatt versus Kane was a match on this show, and you can clearly see what they are trying to do. They are trying to set up, okay, Bray Wyatt can beat a bunch of big guys, therefore Bray Wyatt is a threat to Brock Lesnar. And seriously, beating Kane in 2016 is not an accomplishment. So when he fights like Big Show next week and Mark Henry the week after, beating those guys in 2016, not an accomplishment. Not a, hey, I can beat Brock Lesnar style accomplishment for a guy who couldn't get it done versus Taker at the last WrestleMania. So I have to wonder, is Bray Wyatt going to be the reverse Undertaker? Is he just going to lose at every Mania? Is he build him, and then get to the Big Show, and then lose? He lost to Cena, he lost to Taker. This is his third Mania as, a singles guy, or doing a singles, match, or whatever. So I don't understand the point of Bray Wyatt, Brock Lesnar. I think certainly it is better than Braun Strowman, Brock Lesnar. Like that was a terrible thing that I don't want to see. So there's that. And I don't know where they're going. I don't know what match you give to Taker this year. Like that's also, bizarre. But hey, we've got, a bit of time here before Mania, and we haven't even hit Fastlane yet, so we'll see what happens, I suppose. But yes, Bray Wyatt beat Kane. Ooh, he beat Kane. That's not. Kane is a literal grandfather. That is not that big of an accomplishment these days. He's lost to everybody. He's lost to everybody. Anyway, we get to our largest portion of the show. We are in Miami, and The Rock is in the building, as was rumored for a bit. And The Rock has a very long segment here that kind of just said, hey, let's give The Rock like half an hour to do kind of fucking whatever. So he's walking backstage, hands his keys to The Miz, and, gets into some history with The Big Show, which is weird because I would imagine most of the fans today didn't watch that. Like, I was at that Rumble in 2000. Like, I would imagine most fans don't recall that, but, you kind of made The Big Show cry or whatever, but, that's not that hard to do. And apparently his new catchphrase is, "You alright." That was weird. Apparently Rick Ross backstage. Rouse. I don't know why. But apparently he, was leaving due to the embarrassment of Flo Rida getting his ass handed to him by Bo Dallas. I don't know. It was weird. Why is Rick Ross in the building? Just because they're in Miami? Maybach music. Anyway, then he gets into this thing with Lana, where he very, very explicitly implies that after that last Raw he was at, that him and Lana went back to the hotel and etc., which, from a kayfabe standpoint, is dumb only because they had those big news stories where he just, had a baby with his long-standing girlfriend of like 9 years or some shit like that. Just had a kid. So that whole Lana thing would have really intersected. It's dumb. It's dumb, and it kind of served no purpose. And there was Rusev, and oh yeah, can get married, congratulations, and all that stuff. But yeah, it's The Rock. That's kind of what he does to a certain extent. So whatever. Then he comes out to interact with the crowd and the announcers, makes fun of Byron Saxton because he has no idea who Byron Saxton is. But then he goes off script. So as I said earlier in this reaction video, at the beginning of this show, there were like 4 guys dressed up as Hall of Famers, legends. It was Hulk Hogan, it was Macho Man, it was The Rock, and it was Taker. And they moved those guys because they were a distraction, and apparently the crowd was chanting Randy Savage over the course of the night, here and there. And The Rock being The Rock, he's literally the only guy who could fucking go off script, and Vince can't do... I'm sure Vince was fucking fuming, but Vince needs The Rock more than The Rock needs to show up on fucking wrestling. So Vince literally, he can fucking start cursing, and what are they going to do? It's live TV. Anyway, goes and interacts with the guys. Now, I can imagine Vince having a heart attack that he's interacting with a guy that is dressed as Hulk Hogan, who they've kind of disavowed due to actually being super fucking racist. So, there was that. Anyway, back in the ring, back on script. Out comes The New Day to interact with The Rock, and I thought that was all fairly entertaining. But The Rock, being The Rock, has to say llama penis, and then the crowd starts chanting that, and it's like, Rock, how many llama penises are you looking at? Seriously. How would you know? And then that brings out the Usos, and there's a little bit of a brawl here. Rock does the rock bottom, Rock does people's elbow. I have to wonder, the insurance won't clear Rock to have a match at Mania, but apparently he can just do 2 moves, and they're fine with that, so whatever. Anyway, moving on, there was Alicia Fox and Brie Bella versus Natalya and Paige. This was a, hey, Total Divas back on the air, so we're gonna have a feud that's sort of a feud because of things that happened that got filmed 6 fucking months ago. The match was like a minute and a half, if that, and Natalya and Paige win. That moves on to Kalisto and The Miz. Match was a little sloppy, and Kalisto wins, and that kind of, hey, if they want to just start having more Kalisto and more wins, cool. I'm cool with that. And then your actual main event, which felt so SmackDown, it is such a SmackDown main event, was this match: Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose versus Sheamus and Rusev. And the match was kind of whatever. Reigns and Ambrose win, and then they put Rusev through a table, the announce table, and that was a sick-looking spot. And then out comes the Authority to congratulate them, apparently. And if you recall, at the beginning of the show, they were going to put the match that's going to determine number one contender for WrestleMania to fight Triple H is going to be the guys who impressed them the most over the course of this Raw, which apparently was Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Brock Lesnar, who was not even on the goddamn show. How did he impress you? He wasn't there. Now, never mind the fact that Roman Reigns, having lost his title, has a rematch clause. How in the hell did they get him from having a rematch clause to say, no, we're just going to put you in this triple threat match at Fastlane. Never mind that other shit. You don't get your one-on-one rematch. You're going to have to fight for your... Obviously, he's going to win, but you're going to have to put in a match to have the chance to have your rematch. So, that's dumb. It's like last year when he won the Rumble. It's like, well, we're going to have you fight Daniel Bryan. Are you a coward? Fight Daniel Bryan at Fastlane to earn your way in. And they're doing the same thing as last year. And you know, at Fastlane, Lesnar is going to get taken out by the Wyatts to continue that feud into Mania with Bryan Brock. You know, so it's like you already know that Reigns is going to pin Ambrose in that match because certainly he's not going to pin Lesnar. No one's going to pin Lesnar. And yeah, so the ending to that was just all really fucking stupid. And how you put Lesnar in there as being impressive when he wasn't even in the fucking on the show is dumb. It's dumb. So therefore, that's it. I've been rambling here for a bit too long. That was my Raw reaction for the week of the January 25th, 2016. I think I got that right. And I'm a Tax Slug. And I'll see you next time for more videos every day. Thanks for watching right here on this channel. Let me know what you thought of Raw. Was it good? Was it bad? I don't know. I'm out.